Welcome to Verbal Quick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. Like to welcome you all to the show. Now, we all remember when Muhammad Ali made the statement that he shook up the world, right? Well, another one of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's students has changed the world. One, the world will never be the same again since Minister Louis Farrakhan. He did a concerto, which I hope I'm saying that right, of Beethoven that I listened to last night. And he encouraged the black youth and the black family to go out to some of these concerts, classical music, right? He's was speaking how he was going to go out and do more cities to help promote and get the youth and black families more involved in classical music. Now, what does that do? That raises your level of mathematics. When Minister Farrakhan does something, it reaches millions. It's like cracking atoms. When so many people start getting involved in classical music and learn how to play instruments that you see in the orchestra, it takes their creative thoughts to a higher plane. Minister Farrakhan plays what they deem as one of the hardest instruments to play and master, which is the violin. Imagine millions around this country of the black youth and black families and brown youth and brown families getting involved and playing the violin and in the orchestra. Do you know how much impact those minds and thoughts would have on this society? Y'all ain't hearing me. But you know what? Y'all may not be hearing me, but let me cue this up so you all can hear the minister. He's playing the lead violin. Hold on, I had to pause that. That was Minister Farrakhan on the violin. Imagine if you sat down and read a book to that, wrote out the checks for your bills to that, meditated to that. When you're thinking and planning your next strategy or business strategy or your next financial strategy or your next real estate move, to that. Writing your next rap, to that. Do you know how high that elevates the mind? That's why I say that the minister is changing the world, changing the way we do things, changing the way we look at things for our betterment. I mean, this is game changing. I hope y'all feel what I'm talking about. This is truly game changing. And it's not over. I just want to, I'm going to play a little bit more, but I just wanted to set the tone to what I'm talking about. I hope you all can visualize with me on where we're headed, right? How powerful knowledge is, but knowledge played through music, through an instrument, it can only elevate you as an individual when you listen, right? Because that's the goal. See, we got to rise above being the oppressed, because we can do things that the oppressor can't do. So it doesn't make sense to sit around and be oppressed with all the God gifts and talents that he has bestowed upon you. If only you would just believe. The game is changing, I'm telling you. The whole world is changing. This is like a shock to the system of the system, if you get what I'm saying. But hold on. Look, I'm going to play a little bit more for you guys. This is Minister Louis Farrakhan, Beethoven Violin Concerto, world premiere, right? I'll play a little bit more for y'all, but I want you all to close your eyes and just meditate and visualize what you want for yourself. Wait a minute, y'all don't hear me though. Y'all ain't hearing what I'm saying. You know why y'all not hearing what I'm saying? 'Cause some of you think that classical music is for white folk, right? I already know. I know what you're saying. Classical music, that's for white folk. No, it's the real. This is the real deal. It's the real deal because the minister stated that Beethoven was black. Music, we invented music, starting off in Africa playing the drum, adding instruments, building instruments, mastering instruments, and within the music, it tells a story. Right? You're supposed to close your eyes and meditate and tell your own story. Because this is another facet of life that's opening up to us. How can I put it? So many doors has been closed to black people, right? And it takes people of courage to go in and kick them doors open and then turn around and say, hey, this door is open, it's secure. Y'all come on in and get you some. Right? That's what Minister Farrakhan is doing. That's why I'm doing this show. Now he done kicked open another door for black people to enter in and be accepted and play your violin, get into the orchestra, get into the arts. He done opened so many doors. World leadership, motivational speakers, studying Islam, studying Arabic, being a scholar. I mean, opened up so many doors. Showed you how to organize. And he brought 1 million men to D.C. in '95, Million Man March. And now you hear so many people, they doing the million man this, the million man that, the so many man this. Come on. And even though the public media don't go out and say, well, this all originated from the Million Man March, Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, black people, but the people know it's there though. You can't run and hide from it, right? So as I stated earlier, Muhammad Ali stated that he shook up the world. Minister Farrakhan just changed the world. Y'all don't understand how deep this is. He just changed the world and the outlook on how black people are perceived throughout the world and the level of awareness and value that black people have within themselves has been raised tremendously. We're not through. Check it out. Come on, minister. That changed the whole dynamic, the whole scope of the way we look at things. Because what's in him is in you too. It's meaning that there's nothing we can't do. But they want to tie us up with these petty fights of oppression. And they're not even worthy enough opponents for us. If you'd have saw all the black people that was in the audience, packed, all these minds just been inspired. It's over. The game has changed. It's over. Man, all these young children going home to get them a violin or one of these instruments they just saw. It makes them happy.
Let me say, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I want to first thank Almighty God, Allah, because I certainly needed Him tonight, because this is something way over my head, but I accepted a challenge, and I believe with God's help, we will continue to work on it and do it better and better as time goes on. But I want to thank Maestro Wobble, our conductor. Brothers and sisters, my teacher is here tonight, who came to me maybe 11 years ago to help me do the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto. Miss Elaine Skorodin Foreman, she's playing in the orchestra, but would you please stand, Elaine? This is my teacher. I waited 42 years to come back to the violin. And on my 60th birthday, I tried to give my community music. And it's been 9 years since then that I have not been on a stage with this. Miss Armenta Adams Hummings, who may be here somewhere. Where's Armenta? There she is. Armenta said, I know you handled the Beethoven, the Mendelssohn pretty good, and I'm sure you can do the Brook, but I want you to tackle Beethoven. So Miss Foreman brought me the score, fingered and bowed, and we gently started working. But I can say to you that in 9 years, we've probably had only 15 lessons on the Beethoven Violin Concerto. But I tried.
I'm coming after this show.
All the while that I was touring for the Million Family March and going overseas, I would carry a violin with me that Karen Briggs told me to get. It was called a silent violin so that I could wake up in the night and play it and I wouldn't disturb my neighbors. I called the silent violin Chiquita. But my main violin I call Aisha. And when I put Aisha down for Chiquita, like a typical woman, she was so mad with me. When I came back to play her again, she just would not respond. And my teacher told me if I had known you were going to do something like that, I would have told you not to do that. So 10 weeks ago, I picked up Aisha. And 10 weeks ago, I had my last lesson from Miss Elaine Scorodin Foreman. But last April, I was given a book about Yasha Heifetz by a Miss Ika Agus. And I was so moved by the book, I wrote her a letter. And my chief of protocol, Sister Claudette Marie Mohammed, got in touch with Ika, and we met by telephone. And she told me, I will be giving a master's class in Chicago. Why don't you come? So I went to the master class and met her. And she came to my home that evening, and our mentor happened to be there that evening, and I played for Ika, and I gave her the videotape of the Mendelssohn, and we struck up a conversation, and she said, I will help you. So I went out to Phoenix, and she came over and coached me a day or so in Phoenix. And she went off to Europe and came back in September. And I had one coaching lesson from her in September. And then in this last 10 weeks, she came to coach me because it's like a crash course now. And you know how it is when you cram. And so I was struggling, and then I met a wonderful, wonderful violinist and conductor, Mr. Charles Veal. He's around here somewhere. Where are you, Charles? Come on, Charles. And Charles coached me, and so I have all the support. My teacher, my coach, my other coach, and I brought to you tonight 3 wonderful violinists. You see how this hall is almost filled, and some of you have never been to a classical concert before. I am sure that if racism is defeated and black people who spend billions of dollars on music saw more of us in front of the orchestra, we would come to the concert hall, we would come to the opera house, we would come to the ballet. Wherever we see our people, or Latinos, or Asians, we would feel duty-bound to come. I met this young lady in the back, Miss Time Murray and Mr. Derek Reeves. Would you step forward, please? I want you to see these 2 young people. No, I want you to come forward because violinists. Miss Ty Murray sent me a CD of her playing the Sibelius Violin Concerto. And as I listened to her in my automobile, I just broke down and wept because God had allowed me to live long enough to see a young black woman mastering this instrument, which they say is the hardest instrument in the world to play. She was 16 years old then. She's 19 now, and she is all that I ever hoped to be in playing the violin. And if I do this again, which I'm going to do it, God willing, in about 4 or 5 cities, to get black people out, because it's a novelty to see the minister with a violin in his hand, no less. This young man, Mr. Derek Reeves, this young man is all that I ever hoped to be, and then some. Derek sent me a videotape, and after my last horrific operation, my wife and I were in a place in Maryland recuperating, and I put on this videotape of this young man playing the Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto with the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra. And there I broke down and wept again, because God has shown me that we have young people. So, if I'm blessed with time to go on the road, I'm going to take these young people and feature them in front of an orchestra so that the world can know we have great, great artists among us. Let's give the two of them a marvelous applause. Thank you, Derek. Thank you.
As I stated, the minister has changed the world and has changed the game right here on Verbal Pick Radio. And we're